everybody. It's Fight Card Podcast coming to you from San Antonio, Texas. My guest, Adonis Saucedo, man. How are you, bro?
Man, I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Enjoying the weather right now.
Oh, no, definitely. I know I caught you on the road, man, and I appreciate you pulling over and giving me a few minutes. Now, you say you're in Arkansas right now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm in Fayetteville, Arkansas right now.
Okay, and is that where you live, or are you just traveling through?
No, I live here. I moved here 6 years ago. Moved here from the Valley, Texas. Moved here for a business opportunity, and business is a booming, and I made it my home.
No, no, definitely, man. You got to follow the money sometimes, man.
Oh yeah, man. I miss my people back home, but gotta make a living,
Oh, definitely, brother. Now, the reason I have you on here is for a few reasons, man. One of them is actually you have a fight coming up. This is going to be for peak fighting.
Oh yes, sir. Yes, sir. Peak fighting, March 5th in 2 weeks.
And this is not the first time you fight for him, right?
No, this is the first time I fight for them. It is, and I'm excited.
No, now you said it's at 145 pounds?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's 145 pounds. Last night I just found out I'm actually the main event for it, so it's pretty exciting. First time I headline something.
Oh, I mean, for sure, brother. Now, from the time that you started, man, what was it that got you into mixed martial arts?
What got me into mixed martial arts? Man, I started wrestling in high school. I only got to compete once. And from there, I ended up going to the state tournament. I didn't get to place, unfortunately, but, got injured at the tournament. And one of my friends was kickboxing at the time, Freddie. He's in Mexico, Freddie May. He fights for UCW or UWC in Mexico. And he told me, hey, man, if you help me with wrestling, I'll teach you some kickboxing. And I was like, all right, bet, let's go ahead and get to work. And started teaching him some wrestling. He started teaching me kickboxing. And my coach at the time, Chris Ponce, was like, hey, man, you're looking sharp. Let's get you a fight. And, one thing led to another and started fighting like that.
No, I mean, and the fact that you said you started from wrestling, man, was it hard for you to pick up striking?
Yes and no. I mean, it was kind of weird. It was a weird transition. I did Taekwondo as a kid, so I was already with kicks. Like kicks was thing. The hardest part for me was hands, because you go from wrestling, not being allowed to throw any fucking strike. And sorry if I curse. Am I allowed to curse? Or PG-13? Yeah. So what's it called? Yeah, switching from a sport that you're not allowed to strike to actually trying to punch people in the face. It was a weird transition for me, but yeah, definitely getting there.
No, and the reason I asked, bro, is because even from the heyday, like watching guys like Matt Lindland, a lot of wrestlers that would punch, they used the term punches like a wrestler because a lot of them will kind of be short. They wouldn't be, like a boxer, like they wouldn't go through. Was that kind of your transition where you kind of like?
Yeah, I mean, like the overhand came naturally. I mean, I think for every wrestler, the overhand is like the easiest punch to learn.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, and I kind of like had to like, what's it called? Spend a lot of time with Chris and shy away from freaking shooting in, and it still became a habit shooting in, in exchanges. But cleaned up my striking, and a totally different striker right now. I've been lately I've been staying away from grappling so I could focus more on striking, definitely to keep my striking up, and yeah.
And I mean, like you said, you're going to be the main event, man. Are you okay with that? Being that now you got to wait till the end of the fight card to get your fight in?
Oh man. I mean, yeah, no. I mean, it's its pros and its cons, right? Like the pros is like I get a little bit more time to eat the day of, because like I could finally go to the restroom and stuff, get the food out, right? But I don't know. It's different. I mean, I'm normally like the first or third fight in a card, and now it's like they're telling me I'm the last one. I'm like, oh, cool. But yeah, I mean, it's cool because one of my teammates, my little brother Holden Wills, he's fighting. He's like the second or third fight, and I get to watch him and actually enjoy his fight and then warm up later on. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely a treat.
No, definitely. And I ask because a lot of times fighters are like, oh man, I like to go in early because I get to watch the rest of the fights. But being that you're the last, you can't really be out. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if it affects you, like watching other people fight and you start kind of second guessing yourself. But I mean, you think that's gonna bother you, or you okay with
Oh no. You see, from the last, I haven't fought in 3 years. It's my comeback fight. back then my mentality was totally different. Like I was kind of like reckless with my decisions and stuff. And right now, like I'm a whole different sand on my person right now. I'm just like I could be the first fight, fifth fight, last fight. It's just another day in the office.
No, by all means, bro. Now, because you come from wrestling, man, what are you training right now? I mean, I'm pretty sure you're training wrestling, but I mean, do you have more as far as jiu-jitsu, boxing, kickboxing?
Oh yes, definitely. When I was back in the valley, we didn't really have a head jiu-jitsu instructor. Me and Chris, we just worked a lot of striking. Right now, I'm currently training at Inferno Fitness and Martial Arts in Springdale. And man, we have a lot of grapplers. We have a handful of black belts. My coach, Joe Pinalto, is one of the black belts there that I get to spend a lot of time with. Joshua Bishop, another black belt, Robert Kipnis. Man, they've been, like drilling me. And, my jiu-jitsu is definitely different. I used to basically kind of like try to be a catch wrestler back then. And now it's like I actually get fundamentals and drilling and totally different. Yeah, I've been doing a lot of jiu-jitsu work, a lot of striking work. Changed up my game up, changed up my style. Totally different fighter than what I used to be.
No, I mean, by all means, man. And of course, I mean, you've matured as a person also, man. So you're thinking things a lot more clear now. Because I'm sure starting off, man, people just want to get in there and start swinging. There's no game plan. But now you guys are actually working on the game plan.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, you see, I had a rocky start in the beginning, and it's not because of my coaches. It was because of me. Like I was in a really dark time of my life, and I just really didn't give a shit about what happened. I just wanted to stand bang or like whatever. Right now, like I said, my mentality is like I know what I want to do with my life. I know where I want to be. I got goals, and you know what, like standing and banging and shit is not really gonna help me get there because like I'm one nasty injury away from not being able to do my goals. So my mind, hey, I gotta do this. I gotta be smart about it. Actually, listen to my coaches instead of like, like do my own thing. Because I've been rewatching my last few fights and listening to what my coaches were saying to me, and hearing those advices in the fight. And I was doing something completely different. I'm like, man, this fight would have gone my way if I would have actually listened to my coaches.
Oh no, by all means, bro. And then that was my other question. I mean, when you're in there, can you hear your coaches? I mean, if they're yelling or are they I mean, is it hard? Because obviously you're in the fight, so you gotta kind of like, okay, well, this guy's hitting me in the face, but I still gotta listen to what this guy's saying. Is that hard for you?
um, Back then, like 5 fights ago, yes, it was kind of hard because, like I said, I was just in the adrenaline, whatever. I had just moved up here, but now, like, I work with machinery, and we wear earplugs for safety and whatnot. But especially right now with my machine that I'm working on, I gotta be careful so I don't lose fingers or an arm or something. So I've gotten used to hearing like parts of the machine, like when something messes up, it's like, okay, I know what just messed up. So because of my job, I started getting so used to like trying to focus on a specific sound. So when I'm competing or something, I could focus on the voice of the coach because I have different coaches like Chris Arcana. He was my coach at AGF, and I could focus on his voice while everybody's like yelling and all that, and hear advice from him. So right now in the fights, yes, we have our corners, but it's just one coach actually yelling instructions, and I could focus on his voice instead of trying to focus on 3 or 4 different coaches. So yeah, it's just about hearing it, and if we're in a slow pace of the fight, then yeah, I could definitely hear him.
Oh no, by all means, man. Now, as far as this fight coming up, man, it's gonna be a 145. Do you have a lot of weight to lose?
No, I don't. Actually, this is probably like the easiest cut I've had because, and I changed up my diet, man. Thankfully, my wife, she didn't like my eating habits, and I was really, like heavy into soda, and thanks to her, I haven't had soda in like 3, 4 months.
Nice.
Every once in a while I break, like I relapse, but for a special occasion. But since I started competing again, I was like, you know what, maybe let's see how long I can go without soda. And man, now if I was to like take a gulp or something and messes up my stomach, and I'm like, yeah, maybe not. So man, the extra 15 pounds that I would have from soda, they're gone. So this weight cut is pretty easy.
No, I mean that's one thing people don't realize, man. Because even foods and heavy salt, I mean, you retain water. I mean, sodas, of course, those are bad for you. But yeah, I mean, just changing something like that, I'm sure you've actually lost unwanted pounds. So, I mean, come fight now. You're going to be ready, man. I mean, as far as your coaches are going to be there, who do you have sponsoring you for this fight?
Right now, I currently have Kirk with the off-grid guy. I have Amaranth Robinson with Southern Sighting, La Hacienda on Zion and Crossover here in Fayetteville. Currently waiting on Vapor Maven. Go ahead and sponsor me, guys. My coach, one of my coaches, Eddie Vinagre, and yeah, that's as far as right now. I'm currently waiting on the rest of the sponsors to confirm. Eric Wiley with Third Eye Tattoo on Rogers. Man, they've helped out so much in my camp, and not just in my camp, but on my everyday life. They're not only are they my teammates, but they're also like very close friends of mine. And from the time I moved here to Arkansas, not knowing anybody, like I moved here by myself, and I didn't really know anyone. Totally different environment, and they accepted me how I was, and they invited me and showed me around, and it made a huge difference. So I'm really grateful for them.
No, for sure, man. Now, I want to thank you, bro, for giving me a few minutes. I mean, this upcoming fight, like you said, it's going to be in 2 weeks for peak fighting. Now, do you know as far as where it's going to be at?
Yes, it'll be at the Springdale, Northwest Arkansas Convention Center on Sunset. It's tickets are definitely going fast. We have 3 gyms. Inferno itself is in Springdale, Rogers, and Bentonville, and we have a lot of members, and those members got a lot of family members. So it's definitely going to be a packed house.
No, and are you going to be the only one from your team fighting, or is there other people out there?
No, my little brother, Holden Wills, is fighting. So we're excited. He's making his amateur debut, and man, he's 19, about to turn 20. But man, that kid is explosive. Definitely someone to keep an eye out for.
You see, and now that you have that experience, I mean, now you can, tell him about it, right? You can kind of share that with him and get him ready.
Oh yeah, definitely. I've been working with him a lot, and like he was already like I said, he's a very explosive kid, very talented. But then like I would give him little tips like, hey man, so like what would you do here? Because we're used to sparring with boxing gloves, and then switching to MMA gloves, it's like a totally different thing. So we've been working like that transition of gloves, and he's like, whoa, okay, yeah, totally different. So it's not just me and the fight team. We have a bunch of fight team members. And we've all been sharing our experiences with him, and yeah, totally brighten up his mind to see like what's different.
I know for sure, man. Now, bro, I do appreciate you giving me a few minutes of your time. I'm gonna wrap it up. Is there anything you want to say before we finish this?
Not really. Just I just want to thank everybody that's supporting me and everybody that's gonna live stream it. And huge shout out to all my friends in the valley. Puro pinche 956. Yep, that's about it, man.
Man, I appreciate you, everybody out there. Adonis Saucedo, fighting for peak fighting. Keep an eye out. We are DeFi Car Podcast. Until next time, follow up.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, brother.